it out that the sun shines down its power to all the world and makes the wind blow strong as it will. I wonder how gentle rains can fall upon the land, so lovely earth can stay lovely still. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 639th edition of Energy Week with George Harvey and Nancy Wolf, the astonishing Nancy Wolf.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome. This show is about energy and climate change. It is an aggregation of news that has come up in the last week. It comes from my blog, geoharvey.com, geoharvey.com. Starting on the 28th of August, you can go to that site, click on the calendar, and get a day of articles, which is usually 15 articles, and we would use 3. Or you can go to, I tell the same story every time.
What
you
if we
can
have new
scroll
viewers? It's
someplace.
true.
What?
What if we have new viewers?
We have new viewers, yes. And you can scroll if you're lucky and whatever. You can scroll to see a site that has just these articles with the pictures and links to the articles, which are also available at my website. So you can read the articles. So we're starting on the 28th of August, which is a Thursday, a week ago today, and we are going up to the 3rd of September, which is yesterday. So
let us begin.
We start with a very nice picture of, I don't know whether that's sunrise or sunset. The article is from Clean Technica.
Yeah. So the headline here is countries must include aviation contrails in climate plans under Paris Agreement. Legal advice shows.
Yeah, legal analysis carried out by leading environmental law barristers concludes that countries must include non-CO2 emissions estimated to account for at least half of aviation's climate impact in their national climate schemes. Those contrails, I know without going into the thing about chemtrails, you're not going to see a chemtrail from the ground. Chemtrails happen inside clouds. Chemtrails are usually... I actually produced all of the silver iodide that was used by the United States Navy for cloud seeding for a year in one batch, 1,000 pounds of silver iodide. They don't put a lot of that stuff up in planes, and what comes off is just like dust. You wouldn't see it from the ground. And by the way, I should also say, if you look at crop spraying, that's done barely feet off the ground because they want the spray to come down to the crops. If there were material falling from a contrail above us, if you see the contrail, the material's probably going to come down in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, maybe Europe, because dust, if you think about it, with the wind speeds and so forth up at that kind of altitude where these contrails you see from jet planes, things stay aloft for, in some cases, days.
Yeah.
And even before they started getting planes that high, pilots in airplanes were wondering about what the bugs were splatting against the windshields while they were high up, 15,000 feet, 20,000 feet up. Sometimes it was spiders floating around at that altitude. And the spiders have a trick to do that. They let out web which is caught by the wind and carries them aloft.
So smart. Okay.
I don't know how the spiders figured that out.
Yeah.
You know, somebody should get a Nobel Prize for spiders.
Yeah. Maybe the spiders should.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. We are going on. I like
Yeah.
that picture. I could just stay there, but this picture is pretty nice too. This is sunset, according to the picture,
Yeah.
on the Colorado River, which you can kind of see barely a little bit of reflecting in the middle of the canyon. And this is from ABC News.
Yeah. The headline here is the Colorado River is in trouble. Some groups want the government to step up.
Yeah, a group of environmental advocates earlier this year sent a petition to the federal government with a simple, seemingly obvious message. Ensure that the water from the imperiled Colorado River is only being delivered for reasonable and beneficial uses. Question is, do you think the federal government paid attention?
No. Reasonable and beneficial, that doesn't sound necessarily connected to things, but maybe.
40 million people depend on water from this river, including people in Los Angeles.
Yeah, yeah.
It is also used to grow vegetables in the Imperial Valley, which is a desert and gets virtually no other water. And that Imperial Valley is where 60% of the U.S. vegetables are grown. We could grow vegetables in our backyard. We're just too lazy to do it. We should do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you got anything on that? I know you've got something on a number of these
A number of
articles.
them. I've done a little bit of research on the Colorado River, but not enough to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and by the way, the Colorado River, just to kind of go on, the states that are dependent, there are 6 states, including 2 that are not on the Colorado River, Wyoming and New Mexico. But Colorado, Nevada, Arizona, California, and also Mexico. Those 6 states have to agree on how this is being divvied up, and if it isn't, it's going to be imposed by the federal government. And
It usually works well.
did you hear that Donald Trump has a special kind of green card? He's introducing a gold card. If you're a foreigner, you can buy one for $5 million.
Great. I love more I just want millionaires in my, no. No.
How many millionaires were there on the Mayflower?
None. Nobody had that kind of money. My money didn't even.
Certainly, a bunch of people who had basically been kicked out of England because of their religious beliefs, were not interested in, bringing their millions of dollars with them. Okay.
Yep.
Whoop. I had the next one.
Yes, you did.
I did. There it is. Euronews.
Yeah. So, I had it, and then I lost. I have it here now. Can cruising be emission-free? Havila Voyages plans the world's longest climate-neutral cruise.
I had to spend some time figuring this out because there was no map given. And I'll read the synopsis and then tell you. Norwegian cruise line Havila Voyages showed plans to start what could be the world's longest climate-neutral cruise as soon as this autumn. The 12-day voyage would sail along the coast from Bergen to Kirkenes and back. Where's Kirkenes? It's in the what is that sea called? Where Murmansk and Archangel are. It's the part of Norway that.
Baltic?
No. This is the part
Arctic?
It's part of the Arctic. It's basically they're going to the Russian border, and back. And I didn't realize that's the 12.8, the distance is 9,260 kilometers, which is 5,734 miles. That means that that trip from Bergen to Kirkenes is over 2,800 miles. But they're doing this in a ship that is largely electric. So
it's like driving to California. I mean,
yeah, it is, except you're doing it on a ship. And one of the things that always struck me about ships is you see them moving through the water, they're going 20 knots, and you say, it's going to take forever to get any place. But you forget something, and that is, you don't have to do pit stops. It goes all night. It's just,
yep.
It's a different kind of traveling.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, we are up to Friday.
Yeah.
And this doesn't sound impressive, but I'll tell you about it.
So this is from Renews, and the headline here is Killag starts work on 48 megawatt Lavamund project.
Kellogg will begin implementation work on the 48 megawatt Lavamund wind farm in September of 2025, so this month. The project in the Austrian state of Carinthia. Did you know there was a state called Carinthia?
No.
Neither did anybody else except for the people who live there.
I just know that
Corinthians,
yeah.
That's part of Greece, that's Corinth. Yeah. This is Carinthia, which is part of Austria. Will feature 7 turbines producing 79 gigawatt hours of electricity per year, enough to supply about 23,000 homes. Commissioning is expected in 2027. Okay, why did I include this? Carinthia has 570,000 people living in it. And this one little wind farm with 7 turbines is going to provide about 5% of the household demand for these people who live out in the woods. And I shouldn't say they live in the woods because, we
live in the woods.
They live in the woods. Vermont, by the way, is 100% rural. If you're according to the USDA, if you're in Burlington, Vermont, you're rural. And that's the way they define things. And the definition of this would be pretty much the same. This is a funny little state that borders on Italy and Slovenia, but a small wind farm, which happens to be local, will provide them with a significant part of their electricity. And I thought that was kind of cute. So I thought, and it's a pretty picture.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Next.
We have an item from Renews and a very orange picture of a wind farm.
Yeah. So headline here is bottlenecks threaten offshore wind surge.
Europe's offshore wind pipeline is 411 gigawatts. That's a lot. And that's more than they have a pipeline of offshore wind being brought into Europe that is more than double the amount I'm trying to think. It's more than double the amount of solar energy we have. This is a huge amount of energy.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Offshore, the wind pipeline is 411 gigawatts in 386 projects, but bottlenecks threaten targets. A report from the Energy Industries Council shows only 5 of Europe's 80 specialist installation vessels can handle 14 megawatt turbines. We will get to that later in the show, just to kind of explain to people, we have to do better. Europeans have to do better, and the United States has to do a lot better.
Yes, a lot better.
Moreover, port upgrades take 6 to 10 years to complete. We've got to do better than that, too. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is an interesting project from Clean Technica.
Yeah. So the headline here is, why is a tiny floating solar project making such big waves?
Okay, that actually is the floating solar project in question in the photograph. Floating solar is a relatively new development in the PV field, requiring its own suite of water-specific hardware. Solar trackers have not been high on the to-do list, but that's where the company, California firm Noria Energy, spotted an opening. It has a tiny demonstration project in Colorado. Well, if you want to put in floating solar, where would you go but Colorado? Okay, this floating array is circular. It doesn't look circular there. You're only seeing about a quarter of it. But what they do is they tilt the solar panels and then they turn the entire the entire thing to track the sun.
Wow.
Wow. That's very cute, I think. And the increase is 10 to 20% in the output. So that makes it worthwhile, I think. Okay, we're up to Saturday, August 30th, and we have a picture of Chief Joseph Dam.
Yeah.
Which is something I put in because I needed a picture of a dam, despite the fact that this dam is in Washington State and the article is about France.
Yeah. So this is from Renews, and the headline here is, France strikes EU deal to unlock hydro investment.
France reached an agreement, with the European Commission to resolve two disputes that blocked investment in hydroelectric power for over a decade. The government said the breakthrough will allow a relaunch of investments in dams and valleys, supporting its climate goals and energy sovereignty. I wonder, how long does it take to fill up something like that when you've got no rain falling?
Yeah, that's hard.
I don't know. You know, it makes a... There was an article, I didn't use it today, but it appeared today that basically said there's only one energy source that makes any sense at all, and that's solar. So, hydro, if you've got it in, you probably want to keep it. I have a friend who was involved in dismantling a hydro dam in Massachusetts, and they eventually decided not to dismantle it because they figured out how much pollution there was in the sediment behind the dam.
Yeah.
And they figured that if they just broke that dam down, they'd have the waters of the Connecticut River polluted all the way to the...
It's like how you're not supposed to work on your house that has asbestos areas, like you...
Or lead at this point.
Or lead, but you know.
People have lead paint on their houses.
Yes.
And it's supposed to be removed according to...
very specific
Yeah.
things, just, yeah. Because otherwise you might get sick.
Yeah.
You might get asbestosis.
I had lead poisoning when I was a kid because we had lead pipes.
Yeah.
And, you know, funny things I wasn't aware of until I was an adult, but I had little white lines that went across my fingernails. That's a symptom of lead poisoning.
I had those little white lines too.
Did you?
Yeah.
And they went away as soon as we moved out of that house.
Wow.
And I had anemia, which the doctor said, he's got a little bit of anemia. Maybe that's why you and I are both slightly crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we both had lead poisoning. Your kids now.
And I'll tell you, I had other sources of lead though, throughout my life. Okay. Did we finish that?
Yeah, we finished that one.
I think we did.
I think we did.
Okay. We have a wind turbine here.
Yeah.
And this is from the Gazette. And I forget exactly where the Gazette is.
Well, the headline here is "Stand Up to Trump's War on Renewable Energy."
Yes. Okay. Recently, the USDA announced that federal funding for wind and solar projects will be curtailed to end support of, quote, unaffordable and unreliable green energy sources, end quote. That is mind-boggling.
It's the opposite, guys. It's the opposite. This is opposite day.
Yeah, this is opposite day. That criticism rings hollow in Iowa, red Iowa. Nearly 60% of the state's electricity comes from wind. It attracts companies to the state.
Yeah.
Why? Because the electric rates are low because they're getting them from wind turbines. I mean, and the people there are quite aware of this. They know what's going on.
I mean, look, people are, the thing about it, that these places, these states that are, quote, red states that have these resources, oh, well, they're making money. They don't care. They don't care that it's, quote, green or Democrat or anything like that. They're just like, oh, well, this is successful for our economy. And this is doing well.
Chuck Grassley, he is not turning a blind eye to the fact that the wind energy is cheap. And by the way, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Wind, solar, either one, both together, made what is called by NextEra Energy near, what is the term? Near hardened.
Near hardened?
Yeah, which means that they are near firm.
Near firm, yeah.
Near firm, which means, according to NextEra, in order to be near firm solar or near firm wind, you have to have battery backup that makes the solar or wind at least as reliable as nuclear for dispatching energy during peak demand. Near firm solar, near firm wind, they're expecting the price of either one to be below 3 cents per kilowatt hour, where and this is from a new facility, where new nuclear will cost at least 10.5 cents per kilowatt hour. How in the world are they going to excuse that? And
national security is the only, the reasons that has happened in the past. That is the way, it's what has happened in the past.
Yeah.
But if people are aware that that's what happened in the past and can use that brain and think about it, that's nice. That would be nice.
We have a problem in this country, and that is some people have to learn, or at least if they've already learned, they have to implement the action to use their brains.
Yes. They have to think about using their brains.
That's right.
Actively
That's
consider
right.
that option.
And we have this in conservative states. And by the way, I'm seeing more in the news gradually, more and more. The Trump administration is, in the words of conservatives, picking winners and losers.
Yeah.
Which is something that my conservative friends used to say, government should never do that. But, that's what they're doing. They're saying, we don't want wind, we don't want solar, we want nuclear. What? Or coal, which doesn't make any sense at all, or natural gas. And another thing...
what about innovation? What's this whole idea about innovation, that we're supposed to innovate and change and know, but let's go back to the 1890s.
The Trump administration wants us to take us back to an economic model that was developed over 100 years ago.
Yes.
And the other thing that my friends would always say is the government should never own anything that can be privatized and used to make somebody money. And now we've got the Trump administration buying intel, you know, and the word is that they want more and more stuff to own. No, they are not conservatives, and Gavin Newsom was having a gleeful time referring to the fact that this meant that Donald Trump was an authoritarian socialist.
Yes, that would be kind of accurate.
Which is
yeah,
very different from Bernie Sanders.
Yes, yes. Bernie and Trump are not the same.
Not the same.
They're not the same people. No.
Okay, I'm glad you noticed that.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a picture of after Katrina.
Yes.
And this is from Euronews.
Yeah, so 20 years after Katrina, could cuts to disaster preparedness leave the U.S. vulnerable again?
Yeah, 20 years ago this week, Hurricane Katrina ripped into Louisiana and left New Orleans flooded. Nearly 2,000 people died. Entire neighborhoods were lost. But the systems built in Katrina's wake are now under threat.
Yeah.
So in order to save money, we're going to give up the things we've already put together to save people money and lives.
Yes. It's like it's like in Clinton when they switched the water to the Detroit water, just to the water source that was obviously not good. They said, oh, well, we're switching from the thing that was clean to the thing that's dirty because we're just deciding to switch because someone said it was cheaper. We're not really thinking about all the other issues, but someone said it was cheaper. So we're going to move our water source, even though we have a water source that has been working, that has been clean. No, we're going to switch it away from what was working and clean to what's now dirty.
Yeah. Among the targets for budget cuts that are really going to play havoc in Louisiana are cuts to FEMA
Yeah.
and cuts to NOAA.
Yeah.
And the cuts to NOAA, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't even think it. But the day that NOAA fails to predict accurately the path of a hurricane and it hits Mar-a-Lago and tears it apart, I'm going to feel like laughing. I shouldn't say that. That's mean.
Well, when there's not information to find about something that might affect people's lives, that has a direct impact on people's lives, that they cannot predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
When they know they live in this area, so they know that, but it's like, yeah, you have to give people information. If they don't have information, they can't make decisions.
I don't know where these people imagine that the information that they're getting comes from. We've had all these budget cuts that were going to save America $1 trillion, whatever it was. Turns out that
just going to waste it, basically. Waste this money.
It
We've
saved,
already spent it.
It saved $27 billion, but that unfortunately does not count the losses that we have as a result of the cuts. So the whole thing was done. When you take a wrecking ball to something, you've got to expect it to be in splinters.
Well, it's taken a wrecking ball to the entire federal government, basically.
Yeah.
So what is the government supposed to work now, apparently? If you have a wrecking ball?
I don't know, but everything that I've seen indicates that we are being led by people who want chaos. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got an item from Clean Technica here, and this is an interesting battery.
Yeah, so Finnish city starts up 1 megawatt, 100 megawatt hour sand battery.
Sand battery. You see that thing that looks like a silo for something there? It's got 100 tons of sand in it. And that's the battery. Oh, I'm sorry. There are pipes inside the sand that drive air around so that you can put heat in or take heat out. The ways to store energy so far go far beyond using batteries. One uses sand. A relatively big pile of sand is heated with excess renewable electricity to around 500 degrees Celsius, which is 930 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be glow at a dull glow, not spectacular. That heat is later used to heat homes, factories, and even swimming pools. Swimming pools in Finland? Well, that's what they're doing. The sand may stay hot or can stay hot for 3 months or more.
That's great. I think that's great.
In order to do this, they have to have district heating because the heat has got to be distributed from the sand to the homes, factories, shops, schools, whatever. And this is being done by Polar Night, which, by the way, the picture has in its caption. Polar Night says the round trip efficiency of this is 90%. So you put energy in and you get 90% back out. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. And how much does a 1 megawatt, 100 megawatt hour sand battery cost? I don't know. I don't know. But you know, my brother and I used to drive down to the gravel yard in Bernardston and haul sand out. Bank gravel it was called, but it would have stones in it. But it was mostly sand, and we pulled out about 300 tons of this stuff to cover a pipeline that went from the house to a spring at the top of the mountain. This was bizarre. We lived almost at the top of the mountain. On the top of the mountain, on our property, was a spring, which was very productive. How does the water get to the top of the mountain? I asked a person who was a scientist, not a geologist, but he had enough background to be able to say. He said, it's manufactured underground. And I couldn't figure that out until I realized we were in New Hampshire. Vermont is slowly being subducted under New Hampshire, which means you've got rock under Vermont undergoing changes because of pressure and heat. And that drives off the waters of hydration, which have got to go somewhere, so they go up. And if up means take the easiest path, which happens to go to the top of the mountain, that's where it goes. So it took me a long time. Anyway, we're running a little bit late here. I think that's a good battery.
Yes.
Okay, we have an item from Public TV English, and Public TV English is, Public TV English is Indian. It's an Indian channel.
Oh, okay. So our headline here is Solar Power Transforming Lives of Indian Farmers, PM Modi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said in his radio program Man Ki Baat on Sunday, they talked about the growing importance of solar power in India's farm sector. He also narrated the story of a woman from Bihar who changed the fate of her village with a solar pump. You know, we throw money around in this country like we have a right to throw it around because we've got it. And people who live in less developed places can can benefit from small investments.
Yep.
Now, the picture here is a picture of a solar-powered pump in Montana. I went to get one from India. I couldn't find one, which really perplexed me because I've seen lots of them. But farmers in India traditionally turn on diesel generators to run irrigation pumps. That's how they do it. And with solar-powered pumps, they can irrigate their crops without having to worry about diesel.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just a good deal.
Oh, yeah.
We are behind schedule. I'm going to go on.
Yes.
What you see here is a dust storm.
Yeah.
In Phoenix. That thing in the distance that looks like some kind of weird gray mountain is a dust storm.
Yeah. So is this from Renew Economy?
Nope.
No.
ABC News.
Oh, yes, of course. What to know about monsoon season in the U.S.?
The monsoon season, with its inclement conditions in the western U.S., is expected to last for another few weeks following the massive dust storm in the Phoenix region. In the southwestern U.S., a monsoon has dry mornings and storms in the afternoons of warm summer months. This is very different than the monsoons of India, where you have just rain going on and on. But they're both caused by kind of the same thing with different ground conditions. So that's what that's about. Okay. This, I said we're going to get back to wind turbines, and here we're back to wind turbines. This is from Renew Economy.
Yeah, so China giant installs world's biggest offshore wind turbine for testing.
Chinese state-owned manufacturer Dongfang Electric installed a 26 megawatt offshore wind turbine, the largest in the world. How many of those boats, ships, vessels could install 14 megawatts in Europe? 8, as I recall. And this is 26. Dongfang Electric says the turbine is being tested at the Wind Power Equipment Testing and Certification Innovation Base in Dongying. Now, that turbine, could you put the picture back up? Mm-hmm. That turbine in the background doesn't look all that big because, it just looks like there's a bunch of guys standing there at the base of a turbine.
It's true. It's true. It's in the background. I mean, they're important.
Yeah. The thing that you don't get out of that is that the rotor diameter, you look at that rotor diameter is 339 yards. This is 3 football fields complete with the end zones of a couple of them.
Yeah, it doesn't look that
big. It doesn't look that big. It's 1,017 feet.
Wow, yeah.
And these guys are just, they picked a place a quarter of a mile off where you could see it with them. Yeah. I mean, if they'd taken this photograph at the base of the wind turbine, you'd see a white wall behind them. I guess that's what the mast would look like. Okay. Next. Oh, this is a weird photograph.
Oh, yeah.
And this is from Clean Technica.
Yeah. So federal hurricane forecasting saves lives and money.
Eliminating some government programs can have devastating effects and cost more than keeping them intact. In this article, Amanda Carter, the Ocean Conservancy's Director of Climate Science, answered questions about U.S. hurricane forecasting for Clean Technica. That picture is a picture of I don't know that that's a hurricane. It's a cyclone. It's a cyclone. Tells you right off the bat it's not in the Atlantic Ocean. Hurricanes are in the Atlantic Ocean. Cyclones are in other places. They call cyclonic storms in the North Pacific hurricanes also if they're heading toward North America.
Huh.
But it sounds like NOAA is the only forecaster for hurricanes. And if you cut its funding, you don't have anything left.
Yeah. No.
We don't need to know about hurricanes.
We do not need to know about the weather. We have never needed to know about the weather. That has not been something that we've needed information on, and we have not been tracking it. No, we have not been tracking it for decades and decades and decades and decades now.
Yeah, we've had a couple of hurricanes that had effects in Brattleboro. Sandy really didn't. It wasn't.
No, it's interesting. The whole it's like you got Irene,
Irene.
You know, in
which
New York,
hit Vermont harder than anybody else.
Yeah, in New York, we had Sandy real bad, but Irene was nothing. It was an idea that it was going to be a big deal. And so people freaked out, as New Yorkers do. And, but then when Sandy came, people were like, oh, that's fake too. But that was not. That was really bad.
Do you know about who did not lose power in Sandy?
And you live on the Upper East Side or West Side?
No. It wasn't New York, it was New Jersey. A bunch of buildings at Princeton never lost power. And the reason was because they had a microgrid.
Oh, Princeton. Oh, Princeton.
Listen, there's things to be said about microgrids.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So here we have a picture of fighting a wildfire in Spain.
Yeah. This is from Euronews. Unions warns of woefully low firefighter numbers as EU faces record wildfires.
Summer of 2025 saw the worst wildfire season in decades for the Europeans. Over 1 million hectares have burned since January. That's not quite 2.5 million acres. With over 2/3 of that in Spain and Portugal. Whoa. But the number of firefighters in Europe is woefully low, according to European trade unions.
Yeah.
This is something that they have to pay attention to. It's not going to get, it will get better, but it'll get worse again and worse.
Yeah, because these are, I was mentioning to you before, this dealing with fires and wildfires is just something that's going to increase and get worse. And the thing is we need people to be able to fight those fires. But if we don't provide them, I don't know,
insufficient numbers.
Yeah, if we need more people, we need to perhaps make it a little bit better for people to be firefighters. I remember when these fires were happening out in California, continuously happening out in California, and you have Cal Fire and those firefighters, and then they employ prisoners that are paid $1 an hour, which is a lot of money, honestly.
For a prisoner
who has no
sum.
Access to other forms of employment. So they end up cutting the line, and they end up doing the really sort of dangerous work on the line. But when they get out of prison, they don't have the ability to become a firefighter. They can't use those skills. So it's like this strange economic deal that's made with prison labor to fight these fires, which is highly dangerous work, and not being a trained firefighter.
They can't get the work. Because they have been in prison.
Yep.
So they can get the work if they're in prison.
Yes.
But once they're out, forget it.
Once they're out, they can't make money off of that. They can't have a sustainable life.
Well, I can see something that needs to be corrected, possibly. Okay. Our next item is this.
Oh, yes.
The New York Climate Exchange.
Yeah. So the New York Center for Climate Solutions stays calm, carries on. This is from Clean Technica.
President Trump has returned to office with a powerful fossil fuel agenda in his pocket and willing enablers in Congress. I don't know that those people in Congress are actually willing.
They're definitely enablers, though.
They are, but I have a feeling that a lot of them are operating under some sort of threat.
Or perceived threat.
Yeah. Nevertheless, the Center for Climate Solutions is still on track with the forthcoming New York Climate Exchange as its centerpiece. Now, the Climate Exchange will open in 2028 as a research and jobs hub. Hub is a weird word.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's starting to be too much.
Yeah. Okay. Should we go on?
Yeah. I would just say that there's a climate film festival in New York City that I learned
Yes,
about.
yes.
And it's what, second year, third year, maybe. So, but that's one of the newer things happening.
Okay,
So,
that's good to know. We have a picture of a crew transfer vessel.
yeah. So the headline, this is from Renews, and the headline is Northern Offshore orders 12 crew transfer vessels.
Northern Offshore Services has ordered 12 hybrid E-class crew transfer vessels to expand its fleet. The company said the order made it one of the largest crew transfer vessel orders in history, with 4 vessels on the way and 8 more on order from an undisclosed shipyard partner. These vessels, if you think about the vessels that go out and take care of wind farms, offshore wind farms, installing, I remember when there was an offshore wind farm in Welsh water, and it was big, but the wind turbines were going up at a rate of 1 a day. This is a huge amount of work. Well, in order to do that, they've got to have supply vessels, they've got to have installation vessels, which are those jack-up vessels. And I think the jack-up vessels go out and they just stay out. And they bring in barges that have the components that they need to install, so they move to the next place, install more stuff. But they can't just use the same crew day after day after day for 3 months in a row. So you need these crew exchange vessels. And that's what this is. It's a small vessel that's designed to carry a crew around so that it can do various things. Every one of those wind turbines also needs a certain amount of maintenance.
Yeah, service. Yeah, service is important.
There it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay. Yes, and so we're going to go on to more vessels.
Yes, more vessels. This is from Euronews. Can green hydrogen decarbonize the shipping sector?
5 partners from Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands, and the UK, which means one of those 4 countries had 2 partners from it, got together to help ports in the North Sea region make the transition toward clean and green shipping in cross-border project Zero Emissions Ports North Sea. They are fueling barges and ferries with hydrogen. Now the picture here shows hydrogen-fueled barges on inland waters. And all of these are going relatively short distances, but they're starting to eliminate fossil fuels from shipping. Starting to. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're up to Wednesday, September 3rd, and we have a picture of Vermont.
Oh,
wow.
We do.
Of all places. Does that look familiar to you?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So Americans for Prosperity comes for Vermont voters.
Now, this is from Clean Technica, and it's in 2 parts. The article was too long to go in as one article. So it's in 2 parts. There's 2 links here, one to one and one to the second. The Vermont legislature is Democratic. The governor is Republican. And one of the senators is fiercely independent. You're talking about Bernie Sanders there. Vermonters tolerate those who march to the beat of a different drummer. Clearly, the Heritage Foundation can't stand to see a state that is so respectful to others.
Thanks, Bernie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the Heritage Foundation is one of the organizations. When I started my blog, I could see that the news came about renewable energy came from 2 very different sources. One was saying at that time, it's getting cheaper. It's going to be as cheap as anything else within a few years. Then they later said it's getting cheaper than anything else now. And now they say it's the cheapest thing out there. on the other hand, was various organizations, including the Heritage Foundation, which was funded with Koch brothers money. And they put out information saying solar power was like 7 cents per kilowatt hour, at the same time that other organizations on the CNN, places like that, were saying it's actually closer to 3 cents per kilowatt hour. And I was seeing power purchase agreements signed at less than 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So who do I believe? Well, a power purchase agreement is signed and the companies announce it. That they're announcing an agreement that had better be right. You can't lie about things in the news like that and expect not to be sued. And the board of directors, the management, whatever, is likely to be sued as individuals by the stockholders. This is not something you mess around with. So I knew who to believe and knew who not to believe. And then a thing came in about the Cato Institute saying solar was 7 point something cents per kilowatt hour. And they said, according to the U.S. Department of Energy. And I said, I'm going to find that, because they had that reference, but they didn't give you a link to it.
Of course not. Of course not.
And
no, you're
I
going to have
found
to.
it.
Okay, yeah, you did. Okay.
It was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Solar is declining in cost by 13% per year, which means 5 years they've declined 50%, and these people are using 5-year-old stuff. And the only thing that I can figure, because they were consistent about it, was that they were doing this on purpose. They wanted people not to know that solar energy was cheap.
Yeah.
And you add batteries to that, like iron air batteries and things like that don't need lithium, don't need cadmium, don't need nickel, sand. And, the NextEra Energy, largest utility in the United States, says it's going to be investing in solar, wind, and batteries because that's the cheapest.
Yes.
For 10 years. And are they going to invest in natural gas or nuclear? No.
Those are innovations of the past. I'll just say that.
Which is to say, those are obsolescent or obsolete or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when trains going into Chicago, commuter trains going into Chicago, were powered by coal-burning steam engines. And when the teacher told us that the City Council of Chicago had decided that they would no longer allow coal-burning steam engines into the city, a lot of kids in my class were shocked and saddened by that because they loved those steam engines.
Yeah, I mean, they're cool. That's
cool.
True. Every time I would be at a place to eat where it had the train going along the ceiling, as a kid. Oh, yes, great. I mean, we like trains. Trains are great. But we can have, it doesn't have to be that poisonous is the point, right?
Okay, we have the Parliament Solar Array. This is from Renews.
Yeah, so.
Inga-team?
Yeah, Inga-team commissions 640 megawatt U.S. solar plant.
That's big.
Yes, that's big.
Inga-team has helped commission a 640 megawatt solar park in Texas, of all places. The company supplied PV inverters to the Parliament Solar Project, which was developed and managed by Parliament Energy. The project represents Inga-team's largest installation of PV inverters, in the U.S. to date. So, again, it's happening in Texas. And I'm just going to step on from there to the last article, which shows a squirrel.
Oh, yes, it does. This is from Euronews. Study finds Europe's red squirrels may cope better with global warming than expected.
Well, it's nice to know that. A study from Bournemouth University I didn't know there was a university in Bournemouth. I'm not surprised though. And the White Squirrel Project, I'll explain why that exists in a moment, has found that red squirrels are surprisingly resilient in the face of climate change. The research used climate models to test how they would fare under different warming conditions. Now, this was done on the island of Wight, which is the island south of the rest of England. It's in the English Channel, and it is county sized. This is a big island. And they did the study there because there are no gray squirrels on the island. And the reason there are no gray squirrels is there were no gray squirrels, but they were introduced in England. So, of course, they spread all over the place. And but they offer competition to red squirrels. So they would be able to make headway on this where they didn't have to worry about the red squirrels in competition with gray squirrels. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. And I'm going to put up the last.
Yeah.
Have an indescribably gorgeous week.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Gorgeous.
Gorgeous. There it is.
Yes.
And so Nancy and I will wave goodbye.
Say goodbye.
And hope you come back next time. Next time will be the 640th.
Ooh.
So,
yes.
The birds in the trees don't know what's coming. Little foxes playing by their dens don't know. The apple trees sleeping in the orchard are unaware. Change has fallen upon us. We lose more and more with every delay. The good news is we're all in this together. And when we see we're together, we can work things out. We are the agents of changes we see in the world. We can make things better, but we can fail. Birds in the trees don't know what's coming. Little foxes playing by their dens don't know. The apple trees sleeping in the orchard are unaware. Change has fallen upon us. We lose more and more with every delay. We are the agents of changes we see in the world. We can make